Welcome back, sewists. We're getting a new roof today. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm trying to do some sound blocking. It's very difficult to film a tutorial with this much noise in the background. My close-up camera will not block out the sound, and it really comes through. So today we're going to go on a little trip down a rabbit hole. I want to share with you an inspiration website that I use a lot. It's free. You can sign up. It's like a free online lending library. And I will tell you more when we get over to the computer. I'm going to show you all about it. I love this site. I have found it a great resource, and if you sign up for free, you can borrow. If there's something that they will only show part of it, you can borrow it and see most of it. Sometimes they only have a few excerpts and they're books that you can buy or other media you can buy, but I'll show you all of that online. Because of the amount of noise, I'm going to film this on my computer in the evenings when I really can't do tutorials or anything else, but it'll be quiet. So that's the plan for today. So why don't you join me down the rabbit hole? Let me get my Alice band. All right, friends, let's head down the rabbit hole and look at some great inspiration. This is the website I want to share with you. It is archive.org. You may already know about it, but if you've not heard about it, this is such a great free resource, and it has books, videos, pictures, music, podcasts. There's so much available here. Now, you can get a free account, which I did. You see my name up here. That means I signed up for a free account. It's like a huge library. And there are some things they will give you a preview. If you want to see it, it's free. You can borrow it on the internet, like you borrow it onto your computer. It's all digital. And then when you're done, you return it. So I'm going to just walk you through a little bit. Most of the things we're going to look at today are going to be books. Okay, so here's what comes up when I just put in fashion, a very broad thing. You can see there's almost 150,000 results. These results are in all things. Currently has audio, text, movies, image, data, all the things. If you only want to see images, we can click images and it's only going to show pictures. So you can also click for specific. You can also look at it in different ways. It can display it to you. So right now I have it set up for tiles. We can do it this way, which gives you a little more information. And then this way, a much smaller list, but it gives you a little more information in a different way. This one, if you really want to read what it's about, this is the way to go. This is how I tend to do it, because you can hover over and get that information if you want to. So let's go to, here's this Vogue fashion. So if we click on Vogue fashion, it tells us all the information. It's going to bring it up. And now we can look at it. I can come down here and go full screen. Now this has a borrow thing, which means I'm probably not going to get to see everything. This one was published, if I go back from full screen, was published in 2008. It gives us all the information, especially if you have to cite your sources. If you're in fashion school right now, great resource. So this is just showing us the free parts, and then it says limited preview. I have an account. It was free. I can come over here and borrow it. I can see the entire thing. I'm not going to do that because copyright issues, but I'm just letting you know, look at this stunning thing right here. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Anyway, this is how it works. I'm going to give you a few of my keywords that I've used when searching. Fashion is a really broad one. What I really like about this is they have other countries. So you can actually see in the languages down here, they have English, Japanese, Arabic. There's a bunch of different languages. You can use your Google Translate on get it translated because it's so cool. But I'm going to put in pattern company first. We're going to go to Butterick. And Butterick did more than just sewing. So like, for instance, here is Butterick cutlery. And what it means really is there's a lot of Butterick scissors, but there's other things too that you could look at. So this is a flyer. And then we can even zoom in more and slide around and look. And this is from the Delineator magazine. You may know what the Delineator is because we're getting ready to see it. So here is a catalog for Butterick patterns from 1869. And this doesn't have to be borrowed. The whole thing is right here. We could just look through the 1869 patterns. Working on historic costume, just looking for some inspiration, thousands of things available for you to look at. And look at how cute it is. Look at this. They have got, here's another one from 1906. In all of these, there will be sewing books, like sewing helps, sewing how-tos. If you have a sewing machine and you don't have the manual anymore, a lot of the sewing machine manuals on here from way back. Here's a delineator. It looks like it was scanned in sideways. It was. So you got to turn your head. But here's a delineator from, I forgot to look, 1893. And look at how lovely these illustrations are. Here's a patchwork and crochet book. There are lots of patterns and books for knitting and crochet on here, some quite old ones. Okay, so this is just Butterick. Under Butterick, here's the new Vogue sewing book. This is from 1980. Look at the cover of this delineator. Isn't that stunning? 1921. I am telling you that the covers of some of these old books or old magazines are so beautiful, and they have the advertisements. Here's some paper dolls of the time. So much in tailoring. A lot of the couture sewing books, quite a bit from Claire Schaefer. If you're not familiar with Claire Schaefer, I have a couple of her books, and she has some really great illustrated, beautiful books on specific techniques for tailoring and couture style sewing. But there's some great old books too. And this will be for men and for women. See, here's some high fashion sewing and tailoring. This is 1970. Again, it's free to join. You can donate. You can donate to keep this going, which I did. I made a donation because I've used them quite a bit. I often come here for inspiration, tailoring techniques. Here, look at this. 1941, look at this beautiful suit. Look at the shoulders on it. Singer Fashion Tailoring. Let's see. I did see when I put in tailoring, there was a trade magazine that was loaded here that was so interesting. Progressive Tailor. I think this is a trade magazine for tailors from 1930. Look at the beautiful cover. And this literally is talking to people who are tailors as a business, and it talks about how to do their window displays. It has advertisements for the fittings for their shops. And here's like latest trends and styles. Look at the sewing information in here, though. So this is starting on page 46, and they show a ton of good sewing details, good pictures. They're talking about the rise. They're talking about pockets. Look at these beautiful magazines. Now, these do not include the patterns. If you were to purchase these, they usually have, I don't know about the old ones, but if you buy one for today, they will have actual printed patterns folded up in them. But these are some of the old ones. It tells you what files are available. It's downloadable. Let's look at this, downloadable in 2 formats. See this little curly Q? I noticed in this one that was a thing. Like all of these models have the little curl in their forehead. But look at how cute the designs are. This one's full of cute little pajamas and slips and the curl. I don't know, but that really tickled me. I thought it was really funny. And she's wearing her sunglasses to bed. This is Burda, another great resource. And one thing about Burda that I appreciate is it has for the entire family. So you will see fashions of the period for everyone, infant to adult. This one is just a sleepwear one. Look at all of the eras. Now, this one says it has from 1954 to 1989 available currently on here, and they're just available to look at. Look at, here's a it says 1950, yeah, 1954. So here's a 1957, 1955. I love the 50s era fashions. I really do. But it depends on your figure. This is a better shape for my figure. Depends on how you're built, right? I think the 1920s are stunning, but I'm not built for that style at all. A catalog like Sears or Montgomery Ward. And you can see housewares and everything that was available of the time. This one goes from 1794 to, it says 2030, which is hilarious because we haven't gotten there yet. But so from 1794 forward. Here's one on bathroom fixtures. Here's a wallpaper book. Wouldn't that be great for looking at patterns and designs? One more rabbit hole to drop down and run through if you're interested. Go to sewing. And here's a dealer letter for the Moore Sewing Machine Company. That's one of the first things that comes up. This says from 0 to 2079. I do not know why the publishing goes that far forward. I don't know if it's because of copyrights or what. Just under sewing, they have over 20,000 references. We've seen this Sewing Made Easy. It has been reproduced so many years. This is the 1977 version. This Complete Guide to Sewing by Singer is 1999. There's a Vogue sewing book. Some of the books will show up in multiple places because they have multiple keywords. This one is one to borrow, so I can only show you a few pages. But you can look through and see if it's something you're even interested in because it will have, they give you the information about what's in it. So here's the index. I did notice under sewing, especially some of the older books, they had a lot of like sewing without mother's help, things like that. Here is a Sandra Betsina book. I own some of Sandra Betsina's books. She's very good. Industrial Sewing Shortcuts. This book right here I own. If you can get your hands on it, and you probably can, this is one you should own. You can borrow it here. It is a great handbook. And when I taught in the classroom and parents would ask me, because they did not have to have a manual in my classroom, but parents would often say, is there a book we should get? This was always the book I recommended. And if you have a used bookstore near you, you probably can find it there. So I put in McCall's patterns. And there's McCall's magazine. There's McCall's needlework. You're going to see a load of stuff in here. Here's McCall Fashion Patterns for 1913. This is where I find so much inspiration, especially if you're into historic stuff. This is the cocoon coat. So if you've not sewn the cocoon coat or seen that video, I'll have it linked below. I did the one from Folkwear. Zoom in here. So this is pattern 5033. Look at the pretty colors. So that's McCall's. Here's Fashion News booklet. Here's the catalog. Look at, and I love the illustrations. When you think about fashion drawing, often this is what comes up in your head or in my head. This one you can see the whole bottom of this got ripped off. Still got scanned in. Still here for us to look at. Has pattern numbers up here. Great drawings. That cute. This is from McCullough's in Salem, Ohio. Crocheted hats. Here's a delineator. I love the delineator just because they go back. This is 1917. What a cover. Vogue is a great one to search under. They have a lot of these are just the covers of the magazines, but some of them will have the actual magazine. And some of them are actual books. British Vogue, 75 years, 1916 to 1991. Now, while we're sitting here, I will just tell you, Vogue has its own archive. You can't see everything, a lot of them, but you can see the cover of almost anything. And their covers were stunning. They're old. I mean, they've all had nice covers, but look at this. And then they'll give you a preview of some of the things. You can sign up. I don't know what it costs, but you can sign up and then you have access to everything. But look at how nice that is. I think it's lovely that Vogue is doing this. They are giving, here's the latest issue with a little preview, and then you can come in and look at their old stuff too. Here's browse issues. So they have they have it by decade. So you can go all the way back to the 1890s and see the covers, and quite a few of these, and they're lovely covers, by the way. And then you can see a little bit on the inside. Now, this is Vogue magazine, not Vogue Sewing, but Vogue magazine. But again, if you're looking for history, if you're looking for a certain era, great way. Okay, so that's Vogue. Just as a heads up, we're going to jump back in here. All right, so this is a specific book I know about, so I plugged it in to see, and here it is. And it gives it adjacent things to it. But if you are doing historic costume, historic sewing, if you're anything like that, you might be able to find what you need in here. And I'm going to show you everything again for copyright reasons. I'm going to skip over. But this actually talks about, it gives you a glossary. It's great for pattern alteration, fit alteration. It explains why garments were made the way they were made. And this book is just available. This happens to be one that you don't even have to borrow. It's just there. Now, I've done a lot for sewing. Let's go to textiles. You can put in, Spode. They have books and catalogs on Spode, but they also have actual china. A lot of this is from museums, and you can, if you need pattern information, anything, look at this, and you can zoom in and get a close-up. Isn't that cool? Oh, this is just under China, under Spode specifically. If you put in China, you're going to get the country as much as you're going to get porcelain. So you might put in porcelain instead. However, there's a lot. Oh my goodness, they have Jeeves and Wooster. This is audiobook. Stiff Upper Lip Jeeves. I do love some PG Woodhouse. Isn't that fun? Look, oh, now that I've clicked on it, look at all of these other, down here they have either the ebook or they have more audiobooks. That came up under Spode. Textile fragment. And the reason I found this useful is because a lot of this comes, again, from museums, but there's some pretty ancient textiles, and they go way back. They have stuff that was found in Egyptian tombs. So I'm just going to scroll down for a minute here. So here's one. This textile fabric is 17th century from Turkey, silk damask. And you can see the pattern woven in. They'll have William and Morris. They'll have some old toiles. Here's another beautiful one. They'll have brocades and embroideries. This one is 1700s from Italy. And you can see the design. You can also see how wide the fabric actually was. There's a seam right here where it's stitched together. Sometimes you can see what the fabric came from. Like you can tell it was this would have been probably a chair back. And when you hover over, if you're in this one, it tells you this one is 1450 to 1499 from Florence, Italy. This one is a textile fabric with inscription, Islamic Egypt. So this one would be circa 934 to 40. But look at the inscription and this beautiful little pattern along here. Now, I will tell you, if you're wanting to look up, like, so let's say shoes, for instance, put in footwear instead of shoes and you'll have better search results. This is Peruvian. Look at that. 10th to 15th century. Wow. This is really cool. Coptic. Look at with the image of a goddess, it says. Here's a medallion. This looks kind of like a tall bird at first glance. Silk twill. The Sassanian Empire in Persia. Yep, it's a bird. Pearl studded crescent on its breast. That's this little thing. Silk fabric with rondelles of ducks. Napoleonic fashion. And ta-da. We have got beautiful garments. Most of these were either at auction or in a museum. They've grabbed the pictures for all of us to see, and some of them even have multiple pictures of the same. Sometimes it's just one picture, but sometimes they'll have multiple, and you can zoom in and see some great details on these garments. And sometimes the same garment will come up. So this is a close-up of this dress. Once I'm here, it gives all of these other search terms, right? So you could choose dresses, you could choose overdresses, you could choose where it came from, the Museum of Art. Let's choose overdresses. They have two. Let's choose dresses. Fabulous frocks, fashionable history of dresses and skirts. And they will have, I will also say, if you're into dolls, doll making, doll fashion, they have a huge selection of doll specific things on here too. Lots of wedding dresses. Look at I've got to look at this up close. It looks like beautiful, delicate. Oh, look at how delicate and beautiful that is. 1869. Look at that lace. Stunning. I will be curious what you search for. If you find something amazing, please put it down in the comments so we can all go look at it too. I have found this to be such a great resource, also time waster, but so fun. Look at this. So these are books on embroidery, but they will also have, it might have to be embroidered. Embroidery will give us the information on how to do it. Embroidered, I think. Yes, embroidered gave me the textiles or the garments that were embroidered, like this. Here's this old sampler. Oh my goodness. If you wanted to make reproduce one of these fun old samplers, so easy to bring up. Look at how beautiful that is. This one's from 1821. This is a carpet. You can see the blocks put together. And then look at these hats. We didn't even get into all the accessories you can look up. Looking up the kimonos for beautiful textiles, graphic nature of the kimonos. So here is a close-up of a textile from a kimono. And isn't that gorgeous? And you can see the panel. Kimonos fabrics, I believe, it's 27 or 30 inches each panel. That's why kimonos are made the way they are. And that's because that was the size of the loom when originally. So this panel, I'm going to make this big. This would be the width of the loom. So you have your sleeve, and then you have two of them for the back, and then another sleeve. Court dress. I found this a great way to see some really stunning fabrics and interesting garments. I just put in court dress, and you get them from all over the world. So here's a woman's court overcoat. You can see they're from Asia, from the Middle East. Some lovely close-ups of the embroideries. Look at this. Count its toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Isn't that stunning? Look at that train. I hope this inspires you. I hope you find something fun to look at. And I would love to know what rabbit hole you fell down. Put the information below. I'll probably go look it up, because usually if somebody suggests a pattern or a store or whatever, I look it up every time. I'm interested. I want to learn. Also, if you find a good ebook or audiobook, let me know, because I read at least a book a week, and I often listen to one or two while sewing or cleaning house or whatever. So I really go through my books. Hit me up. They also have podcasts. Now my son uses this he looks up ancient movies and things. But look, they have all kinds of stuff. Animation and cartoons, so much ephemeral films. There's just a lot. Anyway, let me know how you use it and what interesting thing you find. Also, let me know if you head over to the Vogue archive. I know there's other archives out there. Hopefully the pattern companies are working on their own archives, because won't we love looking at the old pattern catalogs. Thanks for hanging out with me today, looking at some fun stuff on the computer. I hope this inspired you. I would love to know if you have a site similar to this. Please share it down below. This is a creative community, and we're always looking for new inspo or sometimes research. There are quite a few people who do either historic costume or vintage looks, that sort of thing, and this is a great way for us to share with each other. You like my pretty little dress? I have an entire tutorial on this, including how I made a matching elastic belt for it. It's a long tutorial, but everything's time-stamped, so if you'd like to see it, it will be linked below. I love this little dress. It's from fabric from Portugal, which I also have a video on where I have my Portugal fabric haul, if you're interested. I'll see you next week for another fun video. If you found this video helpful, informative, or just entertaining, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and maybe giving me a hype.